the age-old conversation that we just started having about can 100 men defeat a gorilla? I don't think they can. I don't think there's any realistic way in which 100 dudes don't all get ripped apart by the gorilla. Best strategy I can think is you take 80 or 100 guys, you split them into 4 groups of 20. Each of those 20 are going after a limb. You got to pin down each arm and each leg, and then you got to have the remaining 20 dudes on eye gouge duty. Like, those guys are supposed to rush in, you gouge the eyes, and then you start stomping the head and neck. I think that's the only way that you're going to get this done. And even at that, like, your chances are not good. Like, even with 20 dudes trying to go after each limb, like, I really don't think it's going to go down like that. I think the gorilla is going to, like, he's going to start swinging. He's going to start ripping people apart. He's going to start crushing skulls. He's going to start biting heads and just, like, cracking them. He is going to be moving like Madara Uchiha in the Great Shinobi Wars, in the 4th Great Shinobi Wars. Also, you're not accounting for the fear factor. The first time you see a man get ripped apart by a gorilla, you're going to lose all conviction in going after that limb. Because, like, the reality of this is you just have to be comfortable with the fact that enough people have to die to accomplish this, and no one wants to be the guy who's, like, gonna be got. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's enough bravery and conviction to, like, plow through, and some of us will die, but that's something we're gonna have to live with, or not live with in the case of most of these dudes. I don't know how many people are making out alive. I say none of them, but, like, that's your best shot. So if that is our best shot, I think that we need to figure out who our 100 is. We got 100 men versus gorilla draft. First of all, I think the best way to approach this is we need categories. So we need muscle, we need speed, and we need strategists. Obviously, the more strong muscle that we have, the better chance that we have in, like, overpowering it to some degree. But I honestly, I think it's going to come down to strategy. I think that if you just throw 100 bodies at the gorilla, it doesn't matter who you're throwing at it, those guys are just going to get ripped apart. So we also need people who are not necessarily going to be in combat, but we need people who can figure out what exactly we're going to do here. So for my first round draft pick here, we need Bill Belichick, okay? I don't know anything about football, but I do know that Bill Belichick is, like, one of the greatest coaches of all time, right? So if, like, he can lead the Patriots into winning 40 Super Bowls in a row or whatever he did, I think that he can lead our team to victory with the gorilla. Wait, do these have to be alive people? I think so. I think they got to be alive people. We'll try to start off with alive people, and then we'll see if we can fill out, like, our roster completely. So I think we still need, like, an animal specialist and maybe some other smart people here, but we're gonna start with Bill Belichick, right? Starting off with muscle, I got 3 dudes that come to mind immediately. Obviously, we need Bradley Martin, we need Ashton Hall, and we need The Rock. These 3 non-negotiables, absolutely need that. Okay, for speed, we need speed. We need ISO speed in there. One of the fastest men alive. You know, he's a little bit on the shorter side, right? So I think he's got a good chance, like, ducking, dodging, weaving. He can avoid those arms. He can get in behind them. We need that kind of dexterity on the field if we're going to have a shot at, like, not just getting ripped apart before we even get a handle on those limbs. Throw in Noah Lyles in there. All right, so we're coming back to strategists here. We need somebody who's good at zoology. We need Robert Irwin. Steve Irwin's son. I don't know anyone who knows more about animals than Steve Irwin's son. I'm not saying that there isn't anyone who knows more about animals than Steve Irwin's son. I'm saying I don't know anyone who knows more about animals than Steve Irwin's son. I think he's going to be good in our strategist department. I still think we need a couple more strategists. I don't want to flood the list of these, though, because ultimately I still think we need 20 people on each limb, at least 10 guys on eye gouging duty, and then the other 10 can be our strategists. I think that'll be good. Ideally, we have a strategist for each limb and then a strategist governing the eye gouging team. Brock Lesnar for muscle. Yeah, dude, absolutely. John Cena. Okay, we do need John Cena. I'm not putting Chuck Norris on this list. It's got to be them now. Like, oh, we need LeBron. You could put LeBron in any category, but I'll put him in muscle. You've seen Chuck Norris now? I mean, he's an old man now. He's got to be an old man. There's no way I'm putting his senior citizen on this list unless he's going into the strategy department. I mean, he looks great for his age, but, like, bro is 1,000 years old. Togi would definitely be a good bet because he also doesn't strike me as the guy who has any kind of fear. His, like, jovial stupidity, I think, would be a real benefit right now. Usain Bolt, yes. Okay, we do need Usain Bolt in the speedster department. See, because what I'm thinking is you're going to have the strong guys go in first to kind of, like, be a sort of, like, distraction. Unfortunately, the first couple of ones are going to die. But then right behind there, you have your speedsters go in and start getting a handle on the limbs. And then you have your second wave of strong guys come in and, like, really pin them down. So we need at least one speedster for each of the 4 limbs. But ideally, like, a couple more because they're going to die too. Like, unfortunately, the first couple guys who go into this are just getting fucking eviscerated. They're going to see what the PSI required to destroy a human head feels like, and there's just no way around that. Well, swimming because you're on a gorilla. I'm gonna assume that this is like a cage match kind of situation. We can't pick up rocks. There's no like rivers or anything like that. Here, let me look up Karia. Okay, you said she's fast? Okay, she's a runner? Okay, she's going on the list. It's 100 men versus gorilla, but like any person can go on here. Well, if we're strategizing, I imagine we have this thing planned out already. They can sneak attack. No. It's like you're dropping these guys in like a full-size basketball court. And you drop them in. So we also need people who can think on their feet. There's no prep time. Like, these guys are dropping in, and then immediately, like, we need the strategist in there. Be like, okay, here's the plan. Because you gotta think the gorilla's probably not gonna be like aggressive off the bat. So you do, like, he's on one side of the basketball court size room. You're on the other side, like the group is on the other side or whatever. So, I mean, the gorilla could charge, but he probably is going to, like, mostly leave you alone. There's no stealth options. Like, he's very aware that you're there. For strategist, I'm throwing in Neil deGrasse Tyson. Odell Beckham Jr., would you put him in speed, the speed category? We should put a Batman on this list. Ben Affleck? I feel like Ben Affleck would be good. Oh, Tom Hardy. Absolutely. I wish Tom Hardy was still in his Bane shape, but Henry Cavill, absolutely. I feel like we need some wild cards in this too. So under strength, I'm gonna put Jelly Roll. While he might not be as physically strong as some of the other characters, he's still got a lot of weight he can throw around. That could be useful. Honestly, bro is probably just gonna be fodder, but it is necessary to have a little bit of fodder. So I feel like that would at least take the gorilla a little while to kind of rip apart. You know what I mean? Jeff Corwin. He's an animal expert. Okay. Who is Greg Popovich? I mean, we need Joe Rogan, right? We need Joe Rogan probably. Oh, dude. Okay, Alex Jones. He's got the audacity. He'll take that head on. Damn. Now it's getting tough. Okay, for speed, I think we need more squirrely people. Who's really like wiry and fast? Tom Holland, dude. Tom Holland on speed. He's doing backflips. Good build too. He's not like necessarily the fastest dude in the world, but I feel like he's got the acrobatics to like really handle this. So I think Tom Holland can do it. Andrew Garfield's the fastest Spider-Man. Okay, 2 Spider-Mans on there. Yeah, and like we could like there's a lot of wrestlers, there's a lot of football players, there's a lot of actors. So I'm trying to like mix it in or whatever. I'm sure like if we just got like a football team, like honestly, like if we just got Bill Belichick and the Patriots, that'd probably be the best team we could make. Just like all football players who've got a good combination between like strength, speed, or whatever. But like the list also needs to be like funny too. So Naomi Watts, since he's playing King Kong, brilliant choice. She knows gorillas. So let's put her in strategy. I need some lunatics. That's okay, because right now we also gotta consider that people are gonna start getting scared once the gorilla starts ripping apart limbs. So I need some fucking lunatics. I need some psychos who are going to be unfazed by reality. Someone who is just like ideally known for substance abuse, like rampant substance abuse, who is possibly not going to be sober enough to understand the gravity of the situation that they are currently in. Gordon Ramsay. You know what? I'll take it. Yes, dude. Okay, he'll be yelling the instructions. 50 Cent got shot 9 times. He could handle. Oh, yeah, that's a great point, dude. 50 Cent's got this. Oh, okay. Under strategist, we need James Franco, because he's got experience befriending apes. He might be able to actually communicate with them. He might be able to like get him to calm down a little bit, lull him into a false sense of security while we have our speedsters like blitz him from the back, and then we have like our muscle like move in for the big push. Musician. What kind of music do you think gorillas would like? Gorilla. Maybe the voice actor who played Tarzan. Gotta think that he probably retained a lot of communication skills that he can apply here. Whoever is the current world's strongest man. We need Andy Serkis. He has like the motion skills necessary to be able to do this. Chris Pratt, fucking wrangle dinosaurs. That's true. Chris Pratt does have dinosaur wrangling skills. I'm putting under speed, actually. I think Chris Pratt can move. So after we ended stream last time, I took a little bit of time to put it into a more organized Photoshop format. That'll be easier for us to add some names, better to visualize who we already have. I also went ahead and I moved some people around. So I set up a couple more categories. We still got muscle, speed, and strategist, but now we also have wild card and the eye gouge team as their own separate categories. Muscle still has the biggest. This is how many names we still have to fill on the muscle. Wild cards, you can see I moved some people over to wild cards. So Jelly Roll, Alex Jones, James McAvoy, and Andy Serkis, I moved over here. James McAvoy, if he can channel that crazy energy that he put into Split and use that to freak the gorilla out, I think that he could be a valuable wild card. As far as speed here, I'm actually going to take Andrew Garfield off the speed team, and I'm going to put him on the eye gouge team. I feel like he'll be nimble. The voice actor who played Tarzan, Tony Goldwyn, there we go. Whoever's the current world's strongest man also has a name. It's Tom Stoltman. I got a couple in the wild card department that I think is going to be helpful. So first up, we got Dave Bluntz. Dave Bluntz, kind of like Jelly Roll. If I'm being honest, he's fodder. He is just going to take the gorilla a little while to work through. So if we can kind of push him to the front line and occupy the gorilla, it's going to take him a second to rip through Dave Bluntz. Unfortunately for Dave Bluntz, he's going to have to be a sacrifice here. But fortunately for the rest of the team, it's going to give them the time they need to really get a handle on those limbs. If Dave is lucky, maybe he can be patched up afterwards, but I doubt it. Over in the strength department, I got the duo of Logan Paul and Jake Paul. They want to be fighters, so let them fight. You know? Someone had brought up music before. I think for the musical purposes, we need two different vocalists. We need one vocalist who can kind of try and calm the gorilla down, and then we need another vocalist who can hype up the team and give them the energy that they need in order to like get excited, get in the zone. So for the gorilla soothing vocalist, I have Ariana Grande. Her soft tones is probably going to be very soothing to the gorilla. So we need to strategically place her somewhere where she can kind of calm him down. Or maybe if he's like rampaging super hard, or maybe after we get a hold of the limbs and where they're like struggling to keep him down, she can kind of come in with like a softer song, lull him to sleep. Kind of think like Mantis against Thanos. I'm thinking of kind of a situation like that. Then in order to hype up the team, in order to gas the team up, we're going to need something that just like exudes exhilaration and gets the adrenaline pumping, but at the same time, it's got to be a vocalist who can stand on his own without instruments, because we're not allowed tools or anything. It's not like he's going to have a whole band. So I was like, what's a rock vocalist that has a pretty good voice that can stand on its own, I think would still be exciting, even if he doesn't have a backing track? So I'm thinking Sergi, I think I'm pronouncing that right? Sergi from System of a Down. I think we're set with those two vocalists. A lot of these are going to be wild cards, if I'm going to be honest. We might actually end up having more wild cards than the slots I have listed here, but I really do think the wild cards are what's going to like push us over to victory, because the gorilla is not going to expect the unexpected. And so who is more unexpected than Josh Block? Josh Block, World of T-Shirts. All you have to do is convince him that the gorilla told him to put the fries in the bag, and he is going to be all over that gorilla. And Josh has the plot armor to make it through this. So maybe that plot armor can carry the rest of the team. Ooh, okay. See, I might end up adding more strategists here. I know we don't necessarily need them, but we don't not need them. Because next up, I have Nardwar. Nardwar knows everything about everyone. He's going to have some piece of intel about that gorilla that we need to know that the gorilla doesn't even know that he knows. Next up, okay, we got another entry into the strength department here. I've got Kratos himself. I've got Christopher Judge. He's literally the God of War. We're not going to put the God of War actor in this fight. He's also fucking massive. He's got this. Also in the strength department, we have the buffest rapper, Jaleel. Yeah, we got Jaleel. If you don't know who Jaleel is or what he looks like, I implore you to look him up. Bro has got the longest arms in the game. He's super jacked, and he can do flips. So he's also got a lot of agility on his side. I don't really know how to classify these guys. The next couple I have up here, they're not really like muscle in the traditional sense, but they're dudes who can get the job done. So I think I'm going to put them in the muscle department, even though they're kind of wild cards. You know what? No, I'm going to put them in the wild card department, and if we just run out of space, maybe we can like shuffle these guys around and reorganize them, because I think we need to put in 21 Savage, Chief Keef. I think this just goes without saying, bang bang. We got YNW Melly, and last up in this batch we got Luigi Mangione, because allegedly he don't miss. So these guys right here, they strike me as people who get the job done, and I think we need that in the wild card department. So next up, again, not conventional muscle, but I am absolutely putting him in the muscle department. We're putting in Keanu Reeves, okay? Because Keanu Reeves is probably one of the most deadly men on Earth, if we're being honest. Certainly in Hollywood. Bro has been trained in more forms of fighting techniques than like anyone else on the planet. So is he a little bit on the older side? Yes. Is he, maybe not the strongest muscularly? Yeah, but I think he is probably one of the most technical fighters that we're going to have in our roster. Also, we'll get to it, but Fate, I did kind of walk back the old man thing, so we will put Chuck Norris in, but we're gonna hold off on that. And next up, we have Fusi. Fusi is absolutely crazy. Dude is unhinged, and he does have like a decent amount of muscle definition. So I was saying yesterday, I need someone who's fucking nuts. I need someone who's crazy. Fusi, when he's crashing out, is one of the craziest he can get. Next up, we got Drewski. Drewski is never at his house. Drewski's always there. Whatever the event is, Drewski's there. He's literally going to space soon. I think the onus is on you to convince me why Drewski wouldn't be here, because to me, it's obvious that he would just be here. Next up in the fighting department, we have Mike Tyson. He is an old man, but he's a strong old man, and if he's willing to box literally last year, I think he can box a gorilla. I think we got to put him in. Next up, friend of the show, Nipfunk Gaming, the man with the mask. What's beyond that mask? I literally have no idea, and neither does the gorilla. So I think that gives a certain amount of fear and intimidation factor, and I really think that he is going to come through in this gorilla fight. I think we put him in. Next up, back in the strength department, he has had a little bit of a fall from grace, but overall, I think that he's still big enough to be of use to us, and that is Liver King. The Liver King made a fortune on pretending he was natty. He wasn't, but I'm going to need him to get back on gear before this fight. I don't care what it takes. We need prime Liver King back. Yeah, I'm going to need to definitely add people to the strategist department. Maybe I'm going overboard on the strategist, but again, I need to fill this list out. We've got Gary V, okay? My logic here is I feel like we need like a motivational speaker, but Gary V's also always got a plan, you know? I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Gary V's advice, but I do think he is entertaining, and I do think that people will need some entertaining, charismatic, encouraging strategy. The next one, we got RFK, all right? So, dude is pretty brawlic for an old man. Moreover, I think when he gets to a point of exhaustion, the worm will fully take over and he'll go completely feral. I kind of think of the worm in RFK's brain like Kurama in Naruto, to where when he depletes his normal chakra, the beast inside takes over. And in this case, it's the worm. And I think that's going to come in handy when he goes full worm mode. Back over in wild cards here, we need Phase Adapt. Definitely the most unpredictable member of the FaZe clan. He's also the first one who I saw do like a draft like this, so also need to pay respects to pioneering this. Shout out Phase Adapt. Over in strength, we got Burst Kreischer. I think in some levels he can be motivational. Maybe he plays a little bit of strategy, but honestly, the dude's burly, he's big. Maybe he's more of a wild card because honestly, he's probably just going to end up being fodder as well. But I also think that when it comes down to it, especially if he can go into this like a little bit drunk, can't take any tools into this, but you know, maybe he can have a couple drinks before he goes into the fight, then I think that we might see some ungodly strength be summoned from deep within. I was like, all right, we probably should get some real fighters on here. I don't really know too many UFC fighters, so I just kind of looked up some and I just grabbed the first three I saw. So coming from the UFC department, we got Khabib, John, and Islam. I looked them up. They're, I guess, three of the best UFC fighters out right now. We need people who know actual combat abilities, because I was like, we got a lot of strong people on here, but I don't think there's anyone on this list that has like real combat experience outside of like some actors who were trained in it. So I was like, that we probably should get that in there. John Jones is a solid pick. Okay, nice. All right, going back to the I team. So this one might feel like a wild card, but I think he's actually perfect for the I team. David Blaine. All right, I figure we need some form of magician on here. We need someone who can do some sleight of hand. Now you see the eye. Now you don't. David will make the damn thing disappear. Exactly. Going back to the speed department here. We got Cristiano Ronaldo. He's fast. He plays soccer. I was like, we got basketball players, football players, track stars. Probably should throw in a soccer player as well. Now, going back to the strength department here. That was a really good idea that you guys had to just pick whoever was the world's strongest man. And I was like, fuck it, dude. Let's get the top 5 world's strongest men. So I looked up the top 5. Zudrundis, Martins, Eddie, and Hafthor. Not sure if I'm pronouncing those names correctly, but those guys are going to kind of round out the pack there. I kind of figured it'd be cheating to just keep drawing on world's strongest men, but we can take the top 5. I think their head and spinal cord getting ripped out probably tears just as easy as everyone else. I think it takes probably the same amount of PSI to crush their skulls as anybody else, so I don't really know in terms of like reducing damage how much their strength helps, but if we can get these guys like to really pin down the limbs and kind of protect them, again, I think if we push out the jelly rolls, the Dave Blunts, the distractions, and then we get these guys in to, you know, really hold down the arms as long as we can stop them from taking, like, immediate damage. We might actually have this, like, a lot easier than I was originally expecting. Going back to the wild cards, I really was like, I need crazy people. And I was racking my brain. I was like, who is the craziest person I know about? And it's got to be Gary Busey. Gary Busey, if you're not familiar, is absolutely insane. He wasn't always insane. I think he was in, like, a car crash or something. Whatever happened, he's not walked out the other side the same. If you want some entertainment, look up some Gary Busey clips. The Family Guy bit about Gary Busey, if you're not familiar with that, also look that up because it is super accurate and very funny. Is he still alive? He is. Yes, he is. And then that's when I was like, okay, it's not really fair for me to put in Gary Busey and then say Chuck Norris is too old. So the next couple guys, I admit, are senior citizens, and they're probably not going to make it through this. But my logic is these guys are all known as being like men of action, and it's probably poetic if they go out like this. You know, it's a lot cooler if they go out in a blaze of glory in a guerrilla fight than just dying in a couple of years of old age. So the in memoriam section of the list, it goes as follows: Gary Busey, Chuck Norris, Clint Eastwood, and Harrison Ford. RIP all of those guys. I do think this is the coolest way they could go out. Going back to the I team, and I might actually end up moving some of our wild cards to the eye gouge team, but this one was someone who I had always had in mind for eye gouge team. Pete Davidson. He's tall. That probably means he has long fingers. It'll probably be easier for him to, like, you know, dive and reach in for those eyes and really help with the eye gouging. Also, hopefully he's on a bender when the call comes for him to jump into this fight. So that could also be advantageous. Again, I need some people who are just like not 100% there, who won't fully grasp the feeling of fear within this moment. And that potentially could be Pete Davidson. A warrior's death. Yes, exactly. I guess this one could be a wild card, but we do need more people for the eye gouge team. The king of TikTok, Joe Bartolozzi. Seems kind of like an obvious pick to me. People already like to type out RIP Joe Bartolozzi, so he might as well go out in a blaze of glory if people are already posting like he's gone. Anyone else who was going to be in wild cards, they're just going to go on the eye gouge team. We got Vex Bolts. I know we left him in 2024. Mass unfollowing of Vex Bolts spread the news, but you know, somehow he made it to 2025. So in order to make sure we leave Vex Bolts in 2025, I think he should be on the Gorilla team. Next up, we got Ninja. The low taper fade meme could be a rallying cry that gives everyone motivation, so might as well throw him in. Again, also tall dude, slender hands. Good for grabbing eyes. We got Jack Black. Big dude. Maybe he can make the gorilla laugh. Maybe he can crack some jokes, kind of throw him off a little bit. While he's, you know, going for one of those legs. We're going to add another one to the strategist here. I just think that her expertise is probably going to be required. Also, we got some senior citizen men. I want this to be an equal opportunity slaughter. So, Jane Goodall. Do your best. Stay in the back. She's an animal expert, you know. I think she might be the oldest person on this list. But she doesn't necessarily need to get in the fight. She doesn't necessarily need to be in the mix. She can play from the back and just make the calls. You know, her, Robert Irwin, and old Jeff, they can make the animal calls from the back line. That is actually all I could come up with. If you guys have any last minute suggestions, let me know now. Otherwise, a Mr. Beast casting call is my suggestion for the rest of it. Actually, you know what? Let's throw in Mr. Beast. We can put him on the... Fuck it, we'll put him on the I team. And then we can just have him do a casting call and fill up the rest of the slots with people who show up for it. Mr. Beast is already somewhere right now plotting on how to do this without breaking international humanitarian laws. Since he's definitely going to do this anyway, we might as well throw him in here and then have him cast the rest of our draft. But if you guys have any other suggestions before we close down this list, let me know, because I'm kind of out of ideas. Jim Carrey. Okay, we can put Jim Carrey on speed. Oh, who's the voice actor who plays Sonic? He's got to be pretty fast. Yeah, Ben Schwartz, he probably picked up something from playing Sonic, right? I imagine he'd be pretty quick. So then we'll just have Mr. Beast cast the rest of the video, so whoever applies. 3 more names. We'll fill out the eye gouging team ourselves. Who would be good at eye gouging? Who's some good eye gougers? Who'd be good at gouging? Are there any, like, serial killers still left alive? Is the Zodiac Killer still alive? He was never caught, right? We'll be equal opportunity here. We'll put Amber Heard, and we'll put Johnny Depp. Mr. Beast can cast the rest of the muscle. We'll just put out an open call for Mr. Beast video first. I think that's 29 slots we got left. I think the first 29 people who apply, just throw them in. At this point, I don't really think it matters. That's it, dude. That's 100 people versus a gorilla. You know what? I've convinced myself that this team actually could do this. So I think we got the winning strategy. We could have filled that with a football team. We could have filled that with a list of boxers, MMA fighters. We could have kept just naming actors. But I think that probably the thing that the list needs is the element of surprise and unexpectedness. And what better way to have it random and unexpected than just having Mr. Beast do an open casting call? I think it's probably the only way we're truly going to get all of our bases covered. So good job, team. We did it. Let me know in the comments if we're beating that gorilla.